Can you hear me?
Yes, bro. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you, sir?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. Busy day, but after you, I'm finished, man. What have you been up to?
Yeah. Not much work today. Come back. Literally, we've got an extension being built at the moment, so just the house is just honestly. I actually want to go back to work.
Same stuff here. We've got builders as well. And it's
Yeah.
like I'm on call sometimes and I'm drilling. I'm like, two
Uh,
seconds, just bear with me, man. But it is what it is,
yeah.
isn't it? How
No,
you
it
doing
is.
now?
It is. No, I'm good. I'm good. I think I'm in a reasonable space. Maybe, probably not, but weight-wise, maybe about a kilo and a half over. But that's just obviously the last couple of weeks where it's just been intense in terms with work and
Yeah.
builders, and and the thing is, we got three weddings coming up now, week after week. So I've just got to make sure I do my steps on the dance floor, get
Yeah.
those, make sure they balance out on the calorie count and stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, look, I keep to a sort of a flexible framework, but keep me making sure that if I do go over, I know straight away. My first thing on my mind is right. I need to make up for it. That's how it is now every day. So it wasn't like that before. I'd be
Mhm.
doing takeaway after takeaway. Any excuse, say, "I saw it. Let's just go and get a takeaway." Not anymore. So
Yeah, I'm guessing you even like it's not even like you're forcing yourself not to have it. You just don't want to have it because you know how it makes you feel after, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. It's those sort of things. Like if you do, you think about it and say, "Nah, actually, I don't want to do that." And again, at my age and stuff, a lot of it's about enjoying life as well, but being sensible about it. And I know that that's what I'm doing now. And the thing is, the wider family, like as in my son, I'm telling you, he's hitting the gym day in, day out, every day. He's bulking up. He's eating so much as well, but he's not putting weight on. But his frame is just going into a V shape now, and it's like everybody keeps on saying, "What the hell are you doing?" He's the cleanest eater that we got in the whole family now. Won't touch anything else.
Sick, sick. How old is
And
it?
and this he's 20, and this is a kid. This is a kid, right? Who you wouldn't even have to ask him twice about takeaways. Not anymore.
Love that. It's great, isn't it? Like the impact that he has. Because
Mm.
when Paulie joined, right, like after a few months, his missus, she started working with a coach as well. And obviously the daughter,
Yeah,
they're eating much healthier. So with yourself as well now, you've joined your sons as well, like 20 years old. That's like the peak age to
yeah.
get in the gym
He's
and make progress.
honestly he's you've seen the difference on him. Like when he plays football now, he's just ripping it apart on a football pitch now. And people are saying he's got pace, he's got power, strength now. Like before he used to get knocked off the ball by some of us bigger lads and stuff like that. Not now. He's knocking us over easy. We're going into tournaments and stuff like that because we're football mad in this family, you see, and we do a lot of the Sikh tournaments.
Yeah.
And he's coming up against guys and stuff and smashing them and stuff like that, and he's just leaving on the floor and walks off them. So so I'm loving it because I just watch it from the sidelines, thinking, "Yep, that's my
Yeah,
lad."
that's my son. Sick, man. Yeah, man. Just wanted
Yeah,
to have this call, man, because as like a last-ish catch up,
yeah.
just to go over like how the journey was and stuff like that, and if there's anything that you need in terms of the future, anything that can do now to so that in the future you're in a good spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what was it like the main thing that made you want to make work with me, maybe like
Well,
over other people?
look, the main thing, right? My wife, like when Pardy was doing it, obviously, well, we call him Bindi. I don't call him Pard. When Bindi was doing it, right? It was like we hadn't seen him for like because obviously I live up north and everything, so we only get to catch up like every 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. And the first time, obviously, when we heard he'd started doing something, we said, "Oh, nah, he's been down this road before. He does his thing where he said, I'm not going to drink or I'm going to do this, that, the other." And he lasts about a week, and that's about it. And then he's back on it again. And honestly, every time we kept on seeing him, it was like bloody hell. And then the missus afterwards, we were going like, how much weight's he lost now? And it was just wasn't that. It's like all my wife's side of the family, when we get together, we have big do's and stuff. When like obviously they love him being around because he's a sort of an entertainer because he does the drinking and stuff with all because I don't drink, but all my brother-in-laws on my wife's side drink,
Yeah.
and they're always asking, "Oh, is Bindi coming up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's coming up." And when they saw him, and when their wives saw him, it was like, "Holy shit, man! What have you been doing?" So and then Suki just kept like my wife Suki, she just kept on saying, "Look, you're getting on a bit. Your dad's had a heart attack in the past and stuff, and he's fit in terms of he does a lot of walking and stuff like that. He's very active. It doesn't mean that just because you play football twice a week that." you're physically fit in terms of, your body itself. So I kept on just brushing it off, and then she said, "Look, I really want you to do it, and I don't care. Look, if it's gonna cost, it's gonna cost." Because I've joined gyms in the past where I'm the dream person for a gym. Yeah, I used to join, go
Yeah.
the first 2 weeks, think, "Oh yeah, I'm doing it, I'm doing it." After that, I'd make every excuse, and I literally wouldn't go for like months and months and a year, even up to a year, and I wouldn't go. But now, like, obviously, knowing that, when I went to Florida, the first thing on my mind was like, make the most of it, because when I go back, I've got
Yeah.
to be on it. Yeah. Started hitting the gym, and that's the reason I saw the results with Pod, and I saw your videos and stuff, and I thought, right, first of all, I'll be honest, I thought, right, this is a youngster who I'm old enough, I'm old enough to be his dad here. Am I really going to take feedback? I'm not great at stuff like that. Uh, but you know what? Because you laid it out in terms of, here's the reasoning, here's a plan you can follow, and you set the expectations with me as well, saying, look, I'm not expecting you to become a bodybuilder. You're not doing photo shoots and stuff at your age and stuff. It's more about your health, your family, your future. And as soon as you said those sort of things, I thought, well, actually, I can work with that, because what I don't want is somebody being rigid with me.
Yeah.
I can't do stuff like that. I have my own sort of ways of doing things. And that's why, even when you did like the meal structures and stuff like that from day one, I did explain that I'll be flexible in terms of using that as a guideline and then applying that to other things.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of work now. Yes, I was honest and stuff. That saying, I'm going to have days where, I'll get tempted. We got dues. We're a massive sociable family. But what I'll do is I'll make up for it. And that's what I try to do every single time. So,
Yeah, and you smashed them, man, because it's age dependent and goal dependent as well, right? Like, as I say,
yeah,
you care about being healthy, living longer. That is it. Maybe if
yeah,
you're like 25, 30, and you're like, okay, I suck, best shape of my life, and I look like a bodybuilder, then it's a different approach. But
yeah,
you just have to cater that approach to different people. And I knew I could, work with you because I like Paulie was in a similar situation. Obviously, you don't drink, he used to, but
yeah,
in the weight loss sustainability side of things, like in a really similar position, and worked out really well for him. So I thought, okay, he's gonna work out well for you as well. Like,
yeah.
what were the biggest changes that you've made, let's say, in your daily life, or like physically, mentally, and all that stuff?
I think the mindset now is that I have got every single day in the morning, it's always about, what do I weigh now? Sort of thing. That's the start. I've got the scales in the ensuite bathroom, and it's religious now for me. I will go on it, and if it's like over than what I thought it would be, thinking where I'm going to be about here, and I'm over. It's gut wrenching,
Yeah.
and I'm like then pissed off. I'm like, well, hold on, why is that? And then I'm like, right, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. And then I'm thinking, right, I can't wait till Monday when it's a football day, when I'm going to burn some more calories by running around. So, that's part of it and stuff. It's like I said, it's got the family overall
Yeah.
doing this now as well. Yeah. Me and the wife are literally, if we don't do 10,000 steps in a day, we get really, really pissed off, sort of thing. We have to hit the 10,000 mark, doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what. If we're like in the evening, it's like we haven't done the 10,000, right? We'll walk in the room back and forth and say, all right, let's go for a walk. It might be 9 o'clock at night, but we're going to go for half an hour, 40 minutes now to make up the steps.
Yeah.
And if we're off on a day, we'll say, right, let's try and hit 20,000 today. We're off, got nothing to do. Let's go for a walk. And we went to London a couple of weekends ago. We hit 30 odd thousand every day for 3 days.
Yeah. So
It's like
that.
almost 100,000 steps in 3 days we did. And previously that would hurt. The joints would hurt, or this, that, the other. But now it's just become second nature. The body feels a bit more flexible, a bit more sort of, easier, to manage and do it. Yes, there are times when you get a bit of strain on the knee and groin areas and stuff like that. But it doesn't stop me from using that as an excuse. We carry on.
Exactly. Like you and Paulie, right, were the guys who did the most steps all the time. Like I never had to tell you or Paulie do more
Yeah,
steps.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe that's a little bit too much, right? Like chill out a little bit. But yeah, you two like steps all the time. Obviously, football helps a lot, but that's the
yeah,
good mindset to have, man. Like some people, it can get too toxic for some people. Like look at the weight and then like let that affect them. But
yeah,
we're like you can take action from it. It's not like you see the weight, you're pissed off, and you're just anxious all the time. Okay, I did this yesterday, today I'm going to do this to make up for it. Well, job done.
mm, mm,
And you learn from next time as well. Like, okay, last time I did X thing, this resulted in my weight going up and going down. So you know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, did you try? I don't think you tried anything else before, did you?
No, no, like I said, the only thing I ever tried was trying going to the gym. That lasts like a couple of weeks and then I sack it off. The only other thing I was doing, like I said, was the football stuff twice a
Yeah.
week. But again, what I found the difference is actually I thought I was doing all right playing football twice a week and that were keeping me whatever. But
Hmm.
when I found the notice is when I lost the weight and being able to I was taking the piss out of 20 like some 26-year-old who's like 6'2" in our football group, right? He's one of the sort of the younger lads, yeah. And I'm like saying he's blowing out his ass after 5 minutes, and
Hmm.
he's chasing me around, and he can't keep up with me. And I'm like, I'm telling him, saying, right, what have you been eating and stuff? And he'll say, oh, I go to the gym, I do this, but then I go and I have a takeaway in the evening, doner kebab with a burger and stuff. I said, what are you doing? There's me now lecturing other
Yeah.
people. I'm lecturing him, and I do it every time I see him now. Have you started, right? And he doesn't mean anything to me. He's just a guy who comes to play football.
Yeah.
He's not a friend or anything like that. He's just a guy who comes to play football. And I'm telling him, 26. I said, I'd love to be 26 at your age now.
Yeah.
I'd be loving if I had somebody to tell me doing that now, what I should have been doing then as well.
Hmm. Because thing is, like, I had a call with someone today, and he's 22, and if you just finish uni, and you know what happens then, like you live by yourself, take away all the time, not cooking,
Yeah,
and he's gained a lot of weight. And look, it's in not a great position to begin with, but at least you're trying to make the change now, which is great. Because
yeah,
a lot of people that come in, they're like 30, 35, 40, 50, and like, yes, we can make progress, but obviously, let's say you were like 15, 20 years younger, even better, but obviously you still smashed it. Um, but what was like the main difference, like you doing it by yourself compared to like having someone there to help you?
Well, the thing is, it's kind of funny. Like I said, I didn't know how I was going to take it off from somebody who's like old enough to just be my child, giving me asking me to fill out a report once a week. Yeah, doing check-ins and stuff, and the fear factor of that, thinking. I was like, oh shit, report day today. What, have I kept, and it's that type of mentality that keeps you going because it becomes like a bit of a work thing, like you are working, towards, to someone who's
Yeah.
managing you and asking you, right, give me an update and stuff. And you're always trying to like better yourself week in, week out to say, from a work perspective, you're saying, right, I've delivered X, Y, and Z. I've done it this way, but I'm also doing this, that, the other for you as well.
Hmm.
And it's the same mentality then you use when you got somebody tracking your progress, asking for videos, then giving feedback on the videos to say, right, you can do this, you can do this better, you can tweak. Whereas, you think when you're on your own sort of thing, yeah, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this
Yeah.
right, not a problem, this is piss easy and stuff like that. It's like, and then when you told me, first of all, when I first started, it's like, why are you doing big weights like that? And you were saying that even you were only doing like 1 or 2K more than me on the incline dumbbells. And I was there like, thinking, oh, these, and I was doing it totally wrong. So I'd be there just, I'd be thinking, yeah, I'm doing this right. But then if things weren't showing or making progress, then I'll be wondering why is that not happening? But obviously you watching the videos, giving me the feedback means that I can say, actually, I improve my form. Actually, this does work. I don't have to look at the guy next to me and think, shit, man, look what he's lifting.
Yeah.
And, and then and that slow progress has happened. It's like I told my son the other day, I said, for the first time on on an incline dumbbells, I was lifting like 20, I think it was 26 or 27 kg. And I was like, I've never done that before. And I said, because my son has gone from doing 12s and stuff like that. He's at the like nearly 30s now within the last few months, the way he's been doing it.
Sick.
And like he goes there and he goes, Dad, you can't even lift anymore. And then I was like, I can now. And it's become a bit of a thing now with us as well. So, like while he's at home from uni and stuff, I can go to the gym with him and he'll say, right, we're going to do this set today and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm doing these ones and we'll kind of look and, do it together.
Love that.
So,
That's
which helps because then obviously you've given me that sort of view and then I've shown him at the beginning and he knows what he's doing anyway, sort of thing. So,
hmm Yeah, obviously, like I said, right, like that's great, by the way, because now you know yourself, your sons, like they will go on a much better path than, let's say, that you went, for example. They're not going to be
yeah,
facing similar issues that you faced, and that's probably going to transfer to like your grandkids in the future as well. So
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
fantastic. That's sick. Like, obviously, as I said, all right, this is going to go on YouTube, but if someone is watching this And if they're on the fence about, making a change, whether that's, working with myself or someone else, what would you tell them?
Well, look, the fear factor for a lot of people are, who are looking at sort of a, somebody to do, private sort of sessions and stuff like that. The key thing that people say, right? I was thinking of it. Oh, it's money. Why am I going to spend that much money? It's only going to cost me £30 a month, to go to the gym, and I'll do it myself. I'll just get some YouTube videos or something like that. It's not the same thing. The fact is, right? My wife said to me, isn't it better spending that money now, right? And making sure you makes a difference and you keep focused because one, you've spent that money now, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be sort of, it's one of those things you invest in something, money wise and time wise, you're going to continue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's one of those that's, it's cheap and cheerful down the road, you won't mind saying, sod it, leave it for the next few weeks, months or whatever like that, because
Yeah.
it's not costing me anything. When you've invested in it, you want something in terms of the return. So you're gonna focus on it. Your mindset's gonna change slightly as well.
Hmm.
And I think the key thing about the whole journey and stuff, it's not just about the fitness and getting form and losing weight and stuff. It's about a way of life now where it gets embedded into you and it's become second nature because now this is my business as usual. This is now, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Before it wouldn't be business as usual. One day I'd go, eat, 3,000-4,000 calories in a day easy for a couple of days and say, nah, that ain't gonna have an impact. Well, that's not something I think about these days now. It's more like, right, I've got to keep within these sort of limits. Yeah, don't be silly. Have a 1 day treat sort of thing, make up for it. These are the things that you then start doing.
Yeah.
And it's only then when and the thing is, it's like when you have issues and stuff like injuries or whatever like that, I know that I could just explain to you, I've got this, that, the other. You'll advise then to say, well, actually, have you thought about this? Have you thought about the physio? Have you thought about these exercises? Here's the links to many of these things that will help you in this. And that makes it easier as well, rather than, just thinking, oh, I'm injured, leave it, I might just rest it or making things worse. Whereas you advise, it's like when I did my groin the first time round, you told me to go to the hospital, get it checked by A&E, went to A&E and they said, yes, you've torn your groin. Don't be doing anything, strenuous on that for now for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Now, I could have ignored that and not done anything,
Yeah.
but I got the confirmation, and they said yes, it can lead to blood clots and stuff like that because of those sort of things.
Yeah.
At least I had it checked over, and they said, the numbness and all those sort of concerns I had. They explained this is why it happens, and it could be for months. You have that. That's now eased off. Now I might have been panicking still about that if I hadn't gone to A&E, but you kept on telling me, have you been? Have you been?
Yeah.
And I think on the second week I was like, oh, sod it, I might as well go then. So
Yeah. Because that's what happened with me, man. I tore my groin, but this was like 7, 8 years ago, and I was like, ah, cool. But since then, my calf has been swollen. Never paid
yeah,
attention to it. And then I remember July 2022, 3, 4 days in a row, like five probably, calf pain, calf pain, calf pain. Then for a couple
yeah,
of chest pain as well on top. I'm like, nah, this ain't no blood clot. But I still went just to make sure, right?
mm,
And they did a blood test. They're like, nah, it's probably not, but we can do a blood test to make sure. I was there for like 7 hours. I literally just stood up to leave. As I'm
yeah,
standing up, the guy comes like, yeah, high chance of a clot. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, when anyone else is in this situation, like get it checked out because a lot of people I've heard they don't even get symptoms. Boom, it just happens.
yeah,
So that's something. Now, after like, you've made the investment, something else as well to consider, Paddy said it as well. Yes, we worked together for a year. It was an investment, but think about like the years that this has added onto your life and
yeah,
what have you taken from this that's gonna carry on forever? Because as you said, this is now second nature to you. You're not gonna get out of shape. Or you
yeah,
only have to do it like once or twice, you know what I mean? And then you have the tools to do it.
yeah.
And how do you feel after like, we worked together for a year, you made investment. How do you feel now? Was this worth it? And would you do it again?
Oh, it's not even a question. I don't even have to answer that question and say, was it worth it? Look, it's probably one of the best investments I've ever made and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, it's not, investment into property or investment here, making
Yeah.
money out of it. I'm getting healthy. I am now healthier than I've ever been in a long, long time. Yeah, back to when maybe I was, a youngster in my, early 20s when I used to be running around, and stuff like that. And obviously that was different because at a young age you can burn things off quick and easy and stuff, but
Yeah.
as you get older you need to start looking after your body and yourself. Now
Yeah.
it's not only obviously your eating habits, it's obviously your your sort of fitness habits in terms of being active as well. So that's given me, like I said, football was my only outlet, but now, it's like a game for me now. 10,000 steps a day has to be done.
Yeah.
Now, I also have to beat, me and the mister compete, like, on days and stuff. How many can we get done and stuff? So how many have you done today? Oh, have you done? Right, I'm going to make up for that now. And she's ahead of me and stuff. So, but it's also, it's the well-being. I think that's a big thing that people don't understand is like in today's world, right? Everything, we're on the go constantly, yeah, from work, especially work, yeah. The work people are demanding more and more from their people, yeah. That then obviously has an impact on your mental health, your stress and everything. Now, you can either, come back and, curl up in a ball and just sit in front of the TV, comfort eat and stuff like that to overcome those sort of things, yeah? Or you can do the total opposite, which is just literally, get up and say, right, I need to clear my head. Yeah, I'm gonna go have a game of football, go to the gym, yeah. And you know what? That's the one thing where you can just literally clear your mind of everything for an hour and a half. That's all it is in the day, yeah. Only has to be a couple of times a week as well. And it kind of just balances you back out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It means that you don't have to worry about those things that you got at work and stuff like that. And it puts things into perspective as well. It's work at the end of the day, right? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you're not here tomorrow? Is your work going to really think about you? Is the company going to stop? If you work for a big corporation, if you disappear, you keel over tomorrow and stuff like that because of your bad health and stuff, the way you're getting, down under and stuff mentally and from physically and stuff from all the work that you're doing and stuff and the stress that's being caused, they're not going to, that'll be, oh yeah, unfortunately Hardeep's gone, but you know that's what happens, that you're just a number to them.
Yeah.
So prioritize everything. Your health is the most important thing, especially for your family, especially if you've got kids and stuff like that. You want to be there as long as you can. So there is no sort of trying to justify investment for this. There is no need. It should
Sick.
just literally be, yeah, actually, when can I sign and when can I start and what do I need to do, and that's it. Well, how do I start?
Yeah.
No, it's not something that you then have to do for years and years. And once you've got that into that groove, yeah, like once you play somebody on that path, then like Pard and like myself now, we're comfortable. We know where we need to be.
Yeah.
We know our parameters in terms of what we need to do to stay where we are. And actually, you know what? We also know what we need to do if we actually wanted to say, we could probably do another step yet. We could probably do a bit more. And for us, then it's just that self motivation to do that to the next step.
Yeah. It's great what you said about the stress because I'm speaking to a lot of people now, like a lot of clients as well. Like, so come, I've done 12 hours for like 4, 5 days in a row, whatever that is. Like, just go to the gym, clear your head. Like,
Mm.
you can get fired tomorrow, or like you can stop tomorrow and they'll find someone else, but your health, that's never gonna come back. So you could just fucking, collapse there tomorrow. They'll just find someone else. So
Exactly.
control what you have. Something as well, like if you are stressed, like what I've seen sometimes with myself and others is you do a really hard session, maybe you play football, whatever that is, or go to your gym, you come back home and you're like so tired, you don't even have energy to think about it. And you're
Yeah.
just like, oh, I'll deal with it when I've got energy. And the things you were stressing about, sometimes it just solves itself. You didn't have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do anything about it. So that's huge, man. But now that we've, wrapped this up, what's next for you?
What next for me now is just making sure that I don't fall into any traps of going backwards, which, like I said, shouldn't happen at all. Because I know I'm invested to where I've what I've done to where I've got to, and knowing now I want to be there, and I know I can do a bit more if I wanted to as well. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling physically fit. I'm eating healthy. The main important thing is eating healthy. We do a lot of like home cooking now, in comparison to before.
Mhm.
And like I said, it's how it's rubbed off to the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. My lad now, like the first thing we say to him, say, oh, sometimes you'll say, oh, because you come from work or you're, we've been somewhere and say we've gotten, we'll say, oh, should we just grab something on the way home? The first thing he says now is, what's at home that we got?
Sick.
That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Right, have we got eggs? Have we got some chicken and stuff? He says that's all we need.
Yeah.
And then when you hear your kids say that, you think, you know what? That's it.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I think I take away as well. Might as well do the same thing as well.
yeah.
You know, so
Imagine as well, like he's 29. Imagine when he's 25 or 30.
yeah, yeah. Well,
He's
that's
gonna
it.
be a beast.
He's you know he's set it in a good one, and now the 17-year-old's the same as well. You know, he's getting to the gym now and again. You know, he's going to get bigger as well because he's a bigger lad than him in the first place. So
Okay.
you know, and they're both like, you know, like I said, football mad, play football at a good sort of level, and you know, competing with guys who are in their 20s, 30s, and everything constantly, easily.
Yeah,
You know, so
they're quite tall as well, and they're gonna be absolute beasts.
yeah, they're both 6 foot six. The eldest about 6 foot, the other one's about 6'1". So
Sick. The younger one
um,
is probably still gonna keep growing as well. He might get to like 6'3",
he's
6'4".
he's still going to keep growing. I mean, he's one who's still obviously he's quite comfortable doing the cheating in terms of like, you know, quick deals here and there and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
you know, we give him a pass the fact that he's 17 and stuff, and his eyes will open like, you know, the eldest has now. He's so focused, and you know, I'm hoping in like, you know, in the next, you know, a year or so, the other one will, you know, take the same approach as well. At the moment, he can get away with doing it
yeah,
because, you know, he's just naturally, you know, kind of fit and stuff through exercise and stuff, that it doesn't take you know, a lot for him to, you know, be fit and stuff. So
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, man. It was a pleasure working with you, man.
No, mate, I'd really
Fantastic.
appreciate it. It's like I said, I was very, very sort of, you know, like, you know, Pindy was like saying, look, he knows what I'm like. Yeah. He knows what I'm like with all the kids. Like they kind of have in the family a bit of a fear factor. They say, oh, we're going to tell Tal, we're going to tell Tal. And then he was like, oh, you know, here's this guy, right? He's only young though, but he's, you know, he'll sort you out. I'm like, am I really going to listen to somebody who's going to be, you know, that young and stuff like that, you know, and the stuff that was my fear. But obviously, you know, it has really helped. And, you know, I appreciate the fact that, you know, it's made a difference. People are noticing it. People have been saying it in the family and stuff. And even just the weekend, we went down to the in-laws, and one of my sister-in-law goes, she goes, "Have you lost weight again?" And I'm like, actually, I said, to be fair, I said, no. I said, I'm probably about a kilo or a kilo and a half over what I really should ideally be at the moment. You know, my target's like, you know, 84 around there or just below that. And I'm probably about 85 and a half at the moment. So I said, I've got a bit of catching up to do again now. So, you
Sick.
know, and that's how it's done. And it's like when we go to places as well, it's like when they have food for Cardiff, I'm like, listen, now I'm all right. You know,
Love it, bro.
yeah,
Love
but
it.
you know, honestly, you know, like I said, I'll be continuing following your stories and stuff like that because they're great. And I say to other people, I mean, I used to go around saying, look at this guy, look at the guy, this is the guy that trains me.
Sick, man. Sick.
And to be fair, actually, we got a relative who's only young. He's only what, 22, 23.
Okay.
No, he's just finished from uni, and he did a sports psychology degree, and he's been working for Bradford Bulls, I think, doing sort of PT stuff. And now
Okay.
he's set up his own sort of thing as well. And
Sick.
he's noticed you as well, and noticed me having worked with you because he came down to ours the other day. I hadn't seen him for a while. And he goes, oh, you've been I've seen your videos and stuff, and like your feedback and stuff. And I said, yeah, I've been. He goes, yeah. He goes, I've been watching that guy as well now. So it's a bit of a, you know, inspiration as well for, you know, people who are also trying to do it. So
For sure, man.
yeah.
Bro.
But
Do you have any questions for me to wrap it up?
no, I think I'm really good, and I think it's the only question I would probably have is that, you know, if you don't mind doing one of those, you know, the odd check in here and stuff, say, you know, how's it going?
Sure.
Because it'll be one of those things. Oh shit, Suggs text me. What's he gonna? What does he want? Oh shit, man. What have I done? I'm looking right. Get on the scales first. Yeah. I'm all right. I'm all right. You know, that kind
Yeah,
of thing. It's just kind of reassurance and stuff, and that, you know, and it's kind of a comfort blanket. Then you have that after somebody's sort of looked after you for a year or so doing that, and it's always good then to hear from that person and say, right, are you keeping up? Because, you know, the easy thing could be done for some people is just to fall back into old habits,
yeah.
but knowing that somebody's just gonna, like, sort of ping now and again sort of thing, it's just like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, this guy's still keeping an eye. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
it might be
What
from
I'll
a
do
distance.
is usually like when people finish, I usually leave them in the group chat just so every now and then I drop a message there. That
Yeah,
even if they don't do a check-in, they check in with themselves. So
yeah,
that's like every few months, like how you been getting on, need anything and stuff like that. So that's
yeah.
always gonna be there. You're never gonna get rid of me. But yeah, man, he was good, man. He
Right.
was good, bro.
No, I appreciate it, mate. I really appreciate it.
Right then, but like you have a lovely evening. Yeah. If you need
Cool.
anything at all, just message me.
No worries. I will shout. Yeah, cool.
Take care, man.
All right, then. Catch you later. Cheers, mate.
Bye.